Yeah. What's up, guys? Nasser coming at you with another type of video where I'm getting my homie's opinion, but we talk about something different today. We ain't gonna be talking about multiverses or D&M Duel. We're gonna be talking about a fighting game that actually a lot of people are hyped about, which is we're gonna be talking about Street Fighter 6. And the thing we're talking about with Street Fighter 6 is my homie JD, he's in the call. He put me up on a game a couple, days ago, maybe a week ago, where they made an announcement that they're going to be banning hitboxes. And when he was telling me about it, I was listening to JD tell me, and I didn't understand it, because I'm a controller player and I play on pad, so I had no knowledge of what he was talking about, or just no frame of reference from his perspective. And there was not really anything on my mind when you were saying it. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know why they did it, but they did it. And then I got recommended today on vidIQ. They be having their daily ideas and shit, and that was one of the ones they hit me up on. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, that's actually a really good question, because like I said, I know nothing about fight sticks or hitboxes or anything. So the fact that they felt the need to ban those specifically, or at least the current versions of them that are out right now, was something that the more I started thinking about it, I was like, maybe I should ask JD about it, because he can probably give me a in-depth explanation on the situation. So let's go ahead and let the king talk. Let's go ahead and let him cook.
Yeah. If you wonder who Nas got it from, he got it from me. I'm just saying.
I did get it from him, but I also was saying it before him, but he definitely was the person saying it on YouTube. I copied him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, sir. That was all me. But I still love him though.
It was him. He the GOAT for a reason.
I still love him though, because he be saying it cool. But so I started off playing fighting games on pad, just like everybody else. I didn't have no money to buy no sticks or no hitboxes and stuff. And I want to say I started using stick around 2012 or 2013. Whenever the time Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out, that's when I started using stick, right?
For people that don't know, he's talking about fight stick.
And then, but around that time, I always wanted a peripheral to where it was just all Sama buttons. And for people who don't know, stick and hitboxes and such, you can choose whatever buttons you can have. Like on fight sticks, you can choose Sanwa, Hayabusa, there's gamer finger buttons, there's all that different stuff, and that's for hitbox and stick. And then for stick 2, you can also choose between ball top, a bat top, a Korean lever. I know Nas is probably looking at me right now. I don't know none of this shit.
Nigga don't know shit you talking about.
Yeah, I know. But essentially, I moved to hitbox when I saw that was a peripheral, which they've actually been doing that since 2010. So I wish I would have started with that first, because I would have been using that the whole entire time. But I used hitbox around, I want to say, a year around when Dragon Ball Fighters was around season 3. I think that's when I switched over to hitbox after using stick for 6 years.
Yeah, that's when I first started playing.
Dang. But that's when I started using hitbox. I ain't gonna lie, it took me about a week just to learn how to use the damn thing, because it's not normal. It's not like a pad or a stick to where it's very self-explanatory to how you move forward or backward and such, but it's way different. Because the way out is it's like a keyboard essentially. So you have a up, a down, a left, and a right. But for the hitbox, the jump button is at the bottom and the middle finger is the down button. So that took hell of adjusting to get used to. The right side, I'm used to playing on sticks, so that wasn't really an issue. So that's pretty much my history with controllers. I can use pad, stick, or hitbox because, I'm a fighting game player. I kind of do this.
He has to go between them.
Yeah, but so the main reason I even switched though, which that'll probably be a question from people, is pad has an issue to where I don't know about analog stick players, because I know there's some players who play on the analog stick. Now, for me, I find that weird. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah, my homie that play Mortal Kombat games a lot. He's like, yeah, I use the analog stick. I'm like, and he uses it for he uses it for Mortal Kombat, not Blaze Blue. What was it? I think Melty Blood and what the hell is the other one?
Eunice?
No. Blaze Blue. Is it Cross Tag?
Central Fiction or Cross Tag?
I think it's Cross Tag Deck, because me and him play Cross Tag. Okay. Cross Tag. Yeah, he uses the analog stick, and I've never grasped that shit, because I I can use it, but I can't use it as my main mode of moving and playing the game. I use analog stick for using inputs where the D-pad feels awkward, but only that. Like, I'm mainly a D-pad player, so the fact that he uses primarily analog stick has always been weird to me.
Yeah, it's just like anyone who plays on analog, I just find that weird, but hey, whatever works for you, it works for you. But pad, the main reason I don't use pad a lot is because they don't last long.
Yeah,
unless you're using the DualShock 1, which I prefer. That's the best PlayStation controller ever made because that shit will not break no matter what you do with that thing. That controller is like the GOAT of fighting games for like PlayStation controllers, or even the PS2 if you can use that. Though, like, to me, those are like the best controllers for fighting games if you use a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, and if you're trying to use like a DualShock 4 or something, the thing I've seen like people like Maximilian say was like what you could do is buy one of those like Battle Beaver ones with specific like custom D-pad that one when you press the D-pad, because on the regular DualShock, if you press with the D-pad, it'll press like another. So if you like press up on the D-pad, it's gonna press up and to the left a little bit. If you buy one of those Battle Beaver ones, you'll press up and you're only pressing up, so you don't have to worry about accidental hitting other buttons on your controller with the D-pad, which is something I've thought about doing. I've just forgot to do it, but it's something simple to where like you can buy it separately. You don't even got to buy a whole new controller, so that's something very good for like fighting game players.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, until I seen a Sonic Fox video, and then I was like, oh, so maybe that's not a good idea.
Oh, see, I didn't see his video, so I don't even know what he said.
Or yeah, I'll send that video to you after the video's over.
Alright.
But essentially, I don't use pads because the main thing about playing fighting games with pads is like, it wears down over time. That D-pad is going to get worn down to the drone. Like, when I was playing Dragon Ball FighterZ on pad, after like about a year or so, like the D-pad, it would not instant air dash for me no more. No matter how hard I press the button. So controller, you can use controllers. You know, games are now a lot more lenient than what they used to be back in the day. So it's easy to use controllers for any game, which I can use it for any game just because, you know, as long as I practice it, I'm fine. And then I switched from stick because of the fact that the stick, it was hurting my wrist a lot over time because I was playing a lot of Tekken back around that time. That was around like Tekken 6 online. That's when the game first had online and stuff. And I just like overall my wrist was starting to hurt, and then playing fighters and stuff, my wrist was starting to hurt. So that's why I'm a Hitbox player now. Essentially, that's pretty much my history of like controllers and everything. But I can use any controller.
Yeah, because you got to think about it, because like, I mean, purple tunnel and shit like that is gonna happen with any time you're grabbing a controller, but like specifically with like a fight stick with the actual like analog stick and then the buttons, and then you switch over to the Hitbox, which is just purely buttons, so you're just tapping buttons like a keyboard.
So, yeah, so it's basically like you're playing on PC. So like for me, I can play fighting games for very, very long sessions now. Very long sessions, which I can do that with pad now too. Yeah. With stick though, it's kind of a lot harder. But essentially what this video is about is, like Nas says, Street Fighter 6, what they're trying to do is they are trying to ban hitboxes. Now, if you don't know what it is, Hitbox has SOCDs, and I don't know the exact abbreviation for it, but I know what it means essentially. But I'm pretty sure Nas will put it down because I'll just put the text for him and just type it. Okay. But essentially what it means is like when you press two, because Hitbox has nothing but movement buttons, when you press two buttons at the same time, it equals something. So if I press left and right on Hitbox, it equals neutral. You can't move, right? But if you hit up, if you hit down and up on Hitbox, it equals up. It doesn't equal neutral. So what Capcom, what they're trying to do with Street Fighter 6 is they're trying to make it to where when you hit up and down and up, it doesn't equal up. Now, you're probably wondering what the hell is even the purpose for this, and that's what Nas even asked before the recording because it doesn't make sense to him. So essentially, in Street Fighter, there's this character named Guile, right? And Guile, he has this attack. It's called a flash kick, to where like it's pretty much an anti-air. So if someone tries to jump at you, they can just keep on flash kicking. Now the thing with Guile, for Hitbox players especially, now I don't play Guile, but I know about it, is that when you hold down and back, you are still getting the down motion. So even when you're pressing down and back, Gal for hitbox players for Gal, you could easily do a flash kick where someone's trying to anti-air you because you can just press up in a matter of seconds. So what Capcom is trying to do, they don't want Gal players to have that. So what they're trying to do is they're saying, if your SOCDs for hitbox and down and up equals up, you can't use it in tournaments. Now, the problem with doing that is that for Street Fighter V, now I will say this before anything we continue, I hate Street Fighter V. To me, that's the worst Street Fighter ever made. I already know there's going to be some people who watch it who are like, damn, JD, why are you feeling? No.
He said, no, I'm not feeling that shit.
No. I've been playing Street Fighter since the Alpha series, bro. That is the worst Street Fighter we ever had. I bought that shit on launch. 2 months after it, I dropped it.
I was gonna say, as somebody who didn't play it, but like watched other people talk about it and play it, it was like, yeah, everybody unanimously agreed that that game had a very bad start.
It had a very bad launch time. Now, for the people who are playing it now, you probably don't know about what happened on launch, which I'm very glad that you guys played it later for whoever did play it later. But that Street Fighter on launch was terrible. All they had was online, and that's it. They didn't have nothing else.
Yeah, for the Street Fighter game, that's kind of, you need more than
that. For a Street Fighter game, that's really not good. But I know Capcom, they were really struggling around that time, so, you know, just like, a lot has changed. Now, Capcom, they're doing a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
But, so for Hitbox, so a lot of companies now, they're doing firmware updates for their hitboxes so they can be tournament legal. My hitbox, though, it's not going to be tournament legal, which is kind of sucks because I bought my hitbox from somewhere completely different website, and then the official hitbox company on Twitter, they shut down that company's idea because I have the Quamba Obsidian hitbox, which I'll show a picture for Nas for that too, so that way he doesn't have to look for that.
All right.
And the place I bought it from, they no longer even sell it anymore, so I have like a very rare hitbox item. And I don't want to use the regular hitbox because I like this one because it has the fight stick style layout that I'm used to, so I can rest my wrist when I'm playing. The regular hitbox, you have no place to rest your wrist, which is why I never bought that one.
Gotcha.
So, with this new rule of equaling down plus up equals neutral, what that actually means for characters like Chun-Li, for example, right? For Chun-Li, it's going to be very easier for her to do motions because she has a lot of down equals neutral. So that's going to make inputs for Chun-Li a lot easier. Also, in this game, they try to get rid of the DP motion from Street Fighter V that was very easy to do for hitbox players. And now that they got rid of the regular shortcut for Gal players, they brought that motion back for DPs. So, all in all, it was just something that they didn't really test. It was just something to where they just saw pro players doing Gal stuff, and to where Street Fighter 6, yeah, I think the prize pool is like, what, $2 million or something?
Yeah, $2 million. First place get $1 million, and then they split the rest down, but $2 million is the total.
Yeah, so what they're honestly trying to do, they're trying to make it an even playing field for everybody, but the thing about Hitbox is that even with doing that, you're still going to give people shortcuts for stuff. So all in all, Capcom is just like, I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, because I like I said, me coming as a pad player who doesn't understand anything about it, and from what you've just explained, I get it, because you're trying to put everybody on an even playing field and not give other people crazy advantages just because they spent more money on their controller that they're using. But then at the same time, it's like, this thing automatically is having benefits for the people that have put in the time to learn it. Like, a hitbox player is not gonna automatically have an advantage over a pad player, but if they know what they're doing, it's gonna be easier than if they were playing on a pad or a fight stick. So it's like, it's gonna naturally come with some advantages if you put in the time to learn it. And you can take some of the like crazy stuff away, because obviously you don't want things to be too crazy, because then you're gonna feel like, you know, the whole community's gonna feel like, damn, the tournament, it had this big prize pool, but it was only run by people with hitboxes because the guile was busted, you know? So you want to not have that be a factor in it, but at the same time, it's like, it's going to be something that's going to be a thing you need to monitor and continue to change, because it might be something later on where you might have to put this back in. So it's just something that you got to watch, because you don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction, then do it, change it, and then, oh shit, you worsened the game's balancing because of it.
Yeah, so because the thing is, even like with them trying to remove that input specifically, all that's really going to do for hitbox players is like they're going to find different shortcuts because now down plus up equals neutral. So now they're just going to figure out more shortcuts to use. And there's still people playing the cracked version of Street Fighter 6 before people even played the game yet. So it's kind of just like, well. And then they also said they're also going to do it for online tournaments as well. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Capcom. I don't know how in the hell you guys are going to be able to track that in online tournaments. I'm just saying. Because there's not going to be like, it's not like anyone's going to be at the station checking before every match for online tournaments. And even for offline tournaments for EVO, do you know how long it's going to be for every hitbox player to like, they're actually going to have to watch your inputs mid-game and stuff like that? And another thing about hitbox that I forgot to explain too is that there's hitboxes that have a switch to where you can make down plus up equals neutral, but then like after like the TO checks, you can actually switch it back, and then you're back to the down plus up equals up. So all in all, it's really just a losing situation for Capcom.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're introducing a solution that's gonna be way harder to track, because like you said, there's people that if you're trying to monitor for online, it's gonna be damn near impossible, because like you said, you're gonna either have to put a failsafe in the game that if the game detects it, you're gonna have to kick the person out online, because it's not like they're physically there. But then at the same time, it's like people will find workarounds and ways of getting past that check. And then like you said, in real life at live tournaments, you got people that'll have a switch on their hitbox to where they check it like maybe before when everybody's registering for the tournament. Okay, we're gonna check your controller. They flip the switch. Okay, everything's good. Your buttons are the way they're supposed to be. And then right when they get on stage, as they're setting up the controller, they flip the switch back. And then now they have to watch like the actual inputs in the game to see if they're cheating or not. But then it's like at that point, it's already too late. They're on stage playing. So it's kind of like you said. It's like it's something that is gonna be very hard to monitor and very hard to enforce this rule, unless they're just gonna flat out just start banning certain models that have switches, or banning certain people that have those. But then at that point, you're gatekeeping a lot of the community, and then it's like at that point, was it really worth it to do all this, or was it just better to just not change anything? It's one of those things where people are going to have their split decisions on it, and some people aren't going to agree with the way Capcom is handling it.
Yeah. Also, the fact too is just like, I also want to bring this up too. There's a lot of people who think that like, just because you buy a hitbox, that people think you're cheating and that like you're trying to do it for like easier stuff in games and stuff. As someone who plays on all three inputs, each thing has their advantage and disadvantage. Because just because you're playing on hitbox doesn't guarantee you're gonna win an EVO tourney.
Oh no, people on I was at an anime convention and people, I can't remember if they were playing on hitboxes or fight sticks, but they were playing on one of the two. Playing against people on controller, and I'm pretty sure it was for Tekken 7, and I'm pretty sure I saw at least one of those guys get smacked, because it's like, yeah, technically you have an advantage because you're playing on a different controller layout, but that doesn't mean that if the other person you're playing against is a nasty, he can't still smack you on a D-pad. It's just the likelihood is higher of you winning, but it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to win. It's not a set
for
advantage.
Example, for me, I can play pad really good on most fighting games I play, like most of them, because I've been using it my whole life. Because for example, on Tekken, I could Korean backdash and wave dash way better on pad than I can do on hitbox, because hitbox is a lot different. I can even do it better on stick than I can hitbox, because stick, it has a motion to where you can just keep on doing it, whereas like hitbox, you have to rely on your middle finger, your ring finger, and your index finger. You have to rely on those fingers alone, and it takes a lot of time, especially trying to do backdashes with fingers that you're not used to using. It takes a very long time. Hitbox, for a lot of people, it takes a lot of time for people to even get comfortable using it, which is why like you have to be very dedicated as a player, which for me is just like, no matter what game I'm playing, I'm always trying to learn something new no matter what.
Yeah, but some people are like, oh, people that play on fight sticks and hitboxes, they're like, oh, they they play on those, you instantly are better at the fighting game. It's like, no, you gotta dedicate to that, especially if you're used to pad and then go to a different form factor.
Because I mean, if you even look at players like Sonic Fox, for example, Sonic Fox strictly plays on pad. So necessarily, it's never like the way I look at it. I don't look at the player as like they're using a stick, a hitbox, or a pad. It's more as like how good is the player at the game.
Yeah, and what form factor do they feel more comfortable playing at? Because if you're going to be in a tournament with a $2 million prize pool, you want to go in with the thing you're most comfortable with. If that's a pad, it's a pad. It's a fight stick, it's a fight stick. It's a hitbox, it's a hitbox. All of this is what do you feel more comfortable playing at the end of the day? And for the people that are like wanting a little bit more in depth about it, there's like a Maximilian video I saw him talk about like a while ago, specifically talking about like the differences between like fight sticks, hitboxes, and like playing on controller. If I remember, I'll throw it up in the eye icon in the top right, but that just goes more in depth. But he said the same thing that we pretty much are saying. It's that you just because you play on one of those different controllers doesn't immediately give you an advantage, and it doesn't make you better for the people coming over to them for the first time, because it is a big learning curve, especially when you have muscle memory from other controllers.
Because let me tell you, when I first switched from pad to stick, it took me 3 weeks just to be on pad level again. Just to like do like simple things of like anti-airing and just like doing simple things like, you gotta remember muscle memory and like your mindset's a very big thing when it comes to fighting games. Like you have to keep playing, keep remembering. Like there's even like every time I start a fighting game, I don't really care about winning in like I don't actually, now that I think about it, I don't really care about winning at all when I play fighting games. I really just play to like really get better at matchups and like overall better my reactions. That's probably my main thing I work on is my reaction time. But mostly, I just hope from this announcement, I just really hope that this doesn't affect other fighting games, because I'm scared it's going to get to a point to where they're just going to get rid of leverless controllers altogether for hitboxes and such, which if they do, that's kind of going to suck, because there are some people who literally cannot play on stick or pad.
Yeah, so you don't want to just cut those people out.
So you don't want to gatekeep and put them out just because like a lot of people will say that this controller is cheating and such, but overall, man, it's just that play whatever you feel comfortable with. If people are thinking you're cheating because of the controller you're using, they just have a terrible mindset. So
either that or they're just bad at the game and looking for an excuse, because like I said, there are plenty of people on D-pad. Like there probably are some low level hitbox players. They're probably me, JD, some other YouTuber that can beat them that plays only on controller. Like I said, the controller doesn't matter. It's how good you are with it. But that's all you had to say, JD, about this whole, topic?
That's pretty much it. And honestly, for this is mostly just to add on. For anyone who, I'm actually going to make a video about this in the future, actually.
I should.
I kind of want to talk about like controllers and overall like how to get into like fighting games, the FGC and such and like that. Because if there's one thing I learned about as I got older, my whole entire life, people have been telling me that I'm very good at fighting games and such, and that like I would be a really good teacher and stuff. So overall, especially for like Street Fighter 6 and like so on, I really want to teach people like how to like get better at games, mindset, and overall just like I just want to see people play more fighting games, because when it comes to other games, a lot of people like to blame their teammates and shit like that, but I've always been the type of player to where like I kind of just evaluate my own skill and like have a very different mindset than most people. But yeah, that's just something special for y'all.
I mean, yeah, because fighting games are very unique in that sense. Because, I mean, shit, as somebody who normally plays a lot more of the two-player team games, it's like, in those games, like, for example, just throwing one randomly out there, the 2019 Modern Warfare, I used to play that shit all the time, me and my homie. Me and him, by ourselves, could fucking be on the top of the leaderboard. And then the rest of our team is below us. And we'd lose because of them. We'd be positive and everybody else on our team was negative. It's like, in those games, you're depending on how you do, plus your teammate. But in fighting games, it's only a self-evaluation thing. You have to analyze how you do in the matchup, how you are performing, how you're playing, and you have to be the one that fixes that if you want to get better. Because that's something I had to learn for the first time in fighters. Being that was like the second fighting game I ever like played seriously, but it was the one that I put the most hours into getting better at. It's like you got to get past that learning curve of learning the game, learning the mechanics, learning matchup knowledge, and then also learning to play against other opponents that you are playing for the first time. So now you got to learn on the fly all of those things, plus other outside factors, including your own tendencies and things that you do wrong and stuff that you do right. So that'd be a dope video for sure, because I can speak from fact. I've played against you and I've seen you play. JD is definitely, I would say, an above average fighting game player, and I definitely think that he would be very good at like teaching people that are new to fighting games, experienced in them, or just looking to get better, or just see a different perspective. Because I mean, shit, I've seen it from your YouTube videos, your Twitter videos. You're just in any game dedicate to getting better at it, and especially in fighting games, you are like you said, somebody who likes to lab and practice getting better at reaction times, which is something you don't normally see too many people like specifically going in depth to like work on and get better at. That's normally something that I would do a trial by fire. I'm going in the games and I'm going to play against people and get better. You're practicing it in the lab, so that when you get into the game, you're already coming in heavily practiced and ready for it.
Yeah, usually my first 2 weeks of fighting games is like learning the basics of like how far does my buttons reach, what's the anti-air buttons, and then for the first 2 weeks I'm not really focused on anything but just those things, and then over time I just practice the BMBs for the characters. It's a very fun learning process once you get used to it for each game.
Yeah, I'm about to say, for me, if you wonder what I do, I normally just go in and I find my character that I like and I want to learn. I look at combos and look at stuff to see what they can do, and I see, okay, is this a character I like?
Can't wait to leave that video because there's so much I could say.
He's like, look, I'm just rubbing my hands over here, just ready to start cooking. But since that's all JD got to say, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the competition in y'all hand down in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about this whole hitbox change for Street Fighter 6. Let me know how y'all feel about Street Fighter 6 in general, and are you excited for it? Are you excited for it?
Also, I'm putting us on the game.
He said what?
I'm putting us on the game.
Oh yeah,
and he don't know it yet.
JD said he is going to be instructing me on the sauce of Street Fighter 6. So that is something, if you were looking forward to it, because I did remember I saw one comment talking about it. Definitely look out for that, because JD, this is the man with all the sauce, and I will be showing it in my videos. So look forward to that. But I'll see y'all next time. Like this video, subscribe if you're new and want to see more. I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Girl, so cute, she's so kawaii.